We're here with Will Meyer now talking about what is out in the box office this weekend. And the movie getting a lot of buzz, a lot of people going out to see it, is one that I've heard mixed reactions on. I don't think it's getting good critic acclaim.
No, it's getting destroyed by most of the critics.
But I've heard some comic fans that have a lot of good things to say about it.
Yeah,
so
I was really interested to see the fan response,
yeah.
But I'll reveal that a little bit later.
Okay.
After
We're talking about
Batman
Batman versus Superman.
Batman versus Superman, yeah, it has two of the most iconic comic book characters of all time on screen together for the first time, and one of the most anticipated movies of the year. You have Ben Affleck playing Batman in this movie, Henry Cavill playing Superman. It's DC Comics' answer to the Marvel movies, specifically the Avengers, so we're going to have a lot more DC comic movies coming down the pipe. But this is much darker than anything you've seen in the Marvel films. You've got two archetypal good guys here, Batman and Superman, who spend their time saving other people. Here, they're literally out to kill one another. So much darker than anything you've seen before. And it's a movie that I think is made more interesting because of that. And it's not without substance. It does ask some interesting questions about God versus man, about power and innocence. But this movie, I think, mistakes darkness for depth. It really doesn't do anything interesting with these questions or wrestle with them in any compelling way. But hey, this isn't Shakespeare. I had to remind myself. This is a superhero movie. It's Batman and Superman. But even when it gets to that main event, it feels like a bit of an underwhelming afterthought. This movie spends so much time focusing on other characters, on other subplots, because this movie really just wants to milk as many sequels as it can, out of this movie just coming down the pipe. And so they forget to make sure that this movie is good. So I think they're counting their chickens before they hatch, as they say. So it's a movie that, bottom line, I just didn't think it was very fun either. Talking about the fan response, the first person I talked to as soon as it was over said that she fell asleep during it. And so,
that's not good.
Yeah, it's a movie that the action I thought was really dull. It's the Transformers kind of action where it's really just buildings crumbling for 2 hours. No wit. There was one joke I counted that got a laugh from an audience, so there's not much to recommend. I did think Ben Affleck was good. He's probably going to get some of the blame, but I thought he was one of the better things about it. Wonder Woman was compelling, even though she's not given much to do. At least we've got a movie coming out about her later, so there is some light at the end of the tunnel, but it's a definite skip it for me.
He has so much to say about that one.
I do, yeah. Cut myself short.
Let's move on to Hello, My Name is Doris, and this one has Sally Field in it, which is, we haven't really seen much from her recently, so this was kind of nice.
Yeah, it's a pleasant surprise. I guess I hadn't really remembered how good of a comedic actress she was. I knew that she was great dramatically, but she blew me away in this movie. She's tremendous. She plays a 60-something-year-old woman in this movie who is inspired after going to a self-help seminar to romantically pursue her much younger coworker. It's a movie that's a quirky independent comedy directed by Michael Showalter, and sometimes it is cringe-inducing in its awkwardness, but it's mostly a warm and welcoming movie that you could even take your grandmother to see today on Easter if she's okay with a few curse words. This is a film that the audience really enjoyed. I can't remember the last time I've seen an audience respond so positively to a character. I think it's because she's so relatable, but also because she is played by the magnificent Sally Field. She really just made me laugh all throughout. Even with just a glance, she can make you laugh. She really elevates the material. Even towards the end, when the writing sort of caves and the movie doesn't know how to resolve itself or go any deeper, she always makes it worth watching. It's one of my favorite performances I've seen in quite some time. She's really great in it.
His co-star, or her co-star, is very lucky to get to play next to Sally Field. That's incredible.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Knight of Cups, because this one also has an intriguing cast.
Yeah, an incredible cast.
Yeah.
It's got Christian Bale, Natalie Portman, Kate Blanchett, Antonio Banderas, just the list goes on and on. This is a film where Christian Bale plays a writer who is indulging in all that Hollywood has to offer, but he undergoes a search for love and acceptance via a series of adventures with 6 different women. It may have a great cast, but this is a movie that most people are going to find very tedious. Even I found it tedious. I think actually a better word is going to be torture for a lot of people. This movie is very slow. It's hard to get your bearings to know what's going on. That is to say, it's a Terrence Malick film. If you've ever seen The Tree of Life or The Thin Red Line, it's from the same guy who brought us those films. I love those movies. This movie has the same sort of feel, the same visual style, but narratively I think this movie's pretty empty. It goes over a lot of the same ideas that he went over in those other films. Also, I just didn't feel like there was much to learn or discover. It's a film that, I'm sure if I peel back the layers and watch it 3 or 4 more times, I could probably get a lot more out of it, but I don't know if I have the patience to do so. It's hard to completely dismiss it. I think this is one of the best directors alive. Those other movies I named are, some of my favorite movies of all time. But this movie, if you're an adventurous film goer, I'd say it's worth a rent, but for most people, it's going to be a skip it.
All right, Will Meyer, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're going to send things now to Dr. Bob. He's talking about night